This is class 2 of course 5 plus, which is called Introduction, or rather Initiation to Metaphysics. Did you see the I on your copy I gave you on the cover?
No, I
Did you
didn't.
even look
I
at
didn't
it?
know.
So anyway, I'm going to try to get in the whole class today. So this is your copy, right? And you said we left off on 17?
That's correct.
All right. So I've been working on the videos and people are getting excited about it. A lot of work, I'm telling you. A lot of work. 17. All right. I'm not going to put this light on because usually we have too much light.
Okay.
You know, so it should be okay like this. Yeah. All right, well, let me see how you look. A nice, interesting hairdo there. All right, what a beautiful woman you are. My goodness gracious. All right. Now, once again, just to recapitulate, the secret is the textbook for the course 5A, 5 plus, rather, and it brings about a transformation, but not like course 5. Course 5 is an all-around transformation, as you well know. This one actually brings on a transformation, but it's an intellectual one. It gets your thinking the right way. And what I'm finding out more and more, which is very interesting, would you hand me one of those? Yeah, in that case, yeah. One of the things that I'm finding very interesting, is how my students from all over the world, you know, like they're getting better just by reading this stuff. Because truth, I mean, we're supposed to be living a complex life. I don't see anything complex myself. I think I always say to everybody, and I say it all the time, life is simple. We make it very complicated. And I could give you an example that happened today, but I'm not going to. So, I'm finding out that as some of these students that have all these difficulties, they were told they're suffering from boogie, they read this stuff and it's so simple and right to the point that they automatically get better. Because a human being is automatically good. He is basically good. So what makes him bad is all the covering up, all the lies. So since all this stuff was written without the lies, they look at it, it makes so much sense, their mind just blows and they open up. I'm seeing this more and more, especially in my European students, because my European students aren't in a hurry like American students. Rush, rush, rush. All right, so let us begin now with number 18.
No matter how highly evolved, no one living today will live forever, unless discoveries in biological and/or psychological immortality take place. Yet, we are living to learn to be immortal.
Okay, this makes perfect sense to me. Don't you like to be alive? When something is going good for you, you like life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way it should be all the time. When you think of you ending, at least I do, when I think of me ending, it doesn't make sense. Here I am, and all of a sudden I just conk out and die, and then I exist no longer. That's a lot of baloney. It doesn't take a lot of study and a lot of reasoning to see that. So, among other things, we're learning to be immortal, and we're getting closer to it. We will learn how to do it. But we're not going to do it by science alone. Like I put on Facebook just recently, a few days ago, the basic function of science should be to prove spiritual law. The other functions are child's play. You see? That's all. And without intending to do so, they are actually doing it because they've already proven the atom and the electron, and all that is spirit. All that is spiritual. In fact, there is an experiment that if you behave yourself, maybe I'll teach you, that you can do in the privacy of your own room in the dark, where you can actually create electrons. That is actually the beginning of creation. It takes a lot of concentration and a little breathing in the right way, and a lot of it's effort. There's a lot of effort there, and that's the thing that we don't have enough of. We are in quality like the universal beingness, but not in quantity. We don't have enough of the electricity. Universal beingness is running at 1,020 volts, let's say, and we are running at 110 volts, let's say. That's why we're the same, but not in quantity.
And don't you think we have a problem staying focused? We're too scattered.
Yeah, but that's obvious. That's just what was put into our heads, the lies.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta rush, you gotta do this, gotta do that, don't gotta do nothing. All you don't gotta do nothing. All you gotta do. Of course you have to make a living. We all know that. What I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying it this way, which is like ironical, but kind of making fun of it, there's really nothing to do. Now I understand what the gurus, the Guji used to say, there's nothing to do. There's really nothing to do except to know who you are. Because if you know who you are, everything else is done. That's what people cannot sit down long enough. They can't sit down and think, who am I? They can't sit there. They go bananas. Mm-hmm. I'm missing out. I'm not making enough money. After all, my mother told me I got to be a rich woman.
Mm-hmm. Too much to do. Got this, got that. I can't stop my brain. Okay, learning to be immortal means becoming self-determined to bring about self-creation.
Yeah, the self-determinism, the more self-determined you are, the more you have a chance at self-creation. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right,
as of this writing, no matter how highly evolved, no one living today is completely free. He, she is still a slave to death.
Well, right now, the life we're living right now, we're still slaves to death. It's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the beautiful thing, the interesting thing about it is I firmly believe that death has nothing to do with disease. I am now totally convinced that every disease you've got, including my problem, physical problems, are changes in the spiritual plan. It's really amazing. I'm doing some very serious experiments right now with that. But if you ever have something wrong with you and you lie down, without taking medicine, lie down or sit down and spend a long time, maybe a week, thinking about what is the spiritual cause of this problem. Let's say you have a knee pain. What is the spiritual cause of this problem? And then go into the alpha state, as you learned in course number 5. There's nothing you can do without the alpha state. You know, hypnosis, that's what it is. They call it hypnosis. What they call hypnosis today is not hypnosis. If I ask you to close your eyes and go back to this morning when you had breakfast, yeah, and you go there, that's not hypnosis. It's just guided, I'm guiding your attention, that's all. So, real hypnosis it's not even worthy of that name. That's an old name. We don't use it anymore. The state you want is what they call the alpha state, which is your body is asleep, but your mind is very sharp. And I know I can feel it coming on when I do certain things. It's such a wonderful way to be in that state. And it is in that state that you can talk with the injured part. And as you talk to it and say, what memories your cells have to tell me. And in some, what I'm working on right now is very difficult, but I'm getting results. And I've gotten results in the past with other things. If you get sensitive enough and go into the alpha state long enough, because the alpha state, like I said, your body is out of the picture. So your reasoning is not in connection with the brain for that time. It's a different type of reasoning. You're there, you're aware, but the body is totally asleep. You should be able to get mental image pictures. Especially if you ask for the memories of the cells in the injured part. Keep that in mind. Experiment with it. I wish somebody would experiment with me and get back with me on it.
Well, okay, so, but you don't mean you have to, you do it on and off for a week, you don't do it, you can't, I mean, most, you can't do it straight for a week.
You do what?
You don't do it straight for a week,
Well,
you do it off
obviously
and on,
not.
right?
I mean, you gotta eat.
Yeah. That would be a problem, so.
No, you
yeah,
do it
as often as you
once,
can,
twice a day.
Okay,
And forget time, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Just do it and you get some results.
Right.
Keep a book like all the witches have,
Mhm.
a grimoire. You gotta have a book. You write down everything. I have one that a student gave me. When you look at it on the book stand, it looks like a medical book. But when you open it up, it's all empty pages. Secret book. And I put all my experiences in there. So I have one of those books, put it, all these experiences in there, and read at night before you go to sleep to validate the subconscious mind, to validate that other mind which is beating your heart right now.
read what?
What you wrote.
Oh, read what you wrote, okay.
Yeah. By reading, you're validating
Mm-hmm. That it,
your other instances.
Mhm.
You got, the book is made up of instances that you've had, experiences that you've had dealing with the spiritual aspect of yourself, the metaphysical aspect.
okay.
And then by reading it just before you fall asleep, even if it's just one, you're actually validating the subconscious mind because it's been invalidated for so long. The what state? Alba? What? No, I gotta make money. I gotta succeed. Success. Oh my God! When people write to me now about success, I don't even answer them. Because success is so simple. You have to find something you love to do and then do it without stopping. Do it to the point where you forget to eat, like I do, working on all these DVDs. I forget to eat. So I go to have breakfast, I eat a lot. I go to the health restaurant way down there, and I fill my belly with food. And it's tasty, because I know I'm going to forget to eat during the day. All right, so, okay, go on.
Death of the human being just does not make sense. We are born, we live and learn, and then as we reach mastership, we die.
We die. That pause is very important. We do all these things. We achieve mastership. We get good. Andres Segovia, the greatest guitarist in the world. What an artist. He's 94 years old and kicks the bucket. I can't believe it. God, which I don't use that word anymore because it's prostituted, but I'm going to use it now. God made us in His image. He really, really did. I'm referring, of course, to an isness, to an it, which is the universal beingness. But we haven't helped it. We left the Father with the prodigal son. So, how can we learn how to be mortal? We get all this mastership and then we die. So when we reach the point of mastership, and we die. And we die because we know so little about ourselves yet. We don't know enough. But we will, what I'm trying to say is that we will come to a point where we will know how to prolong the life of the body. However, it's very satisfying to know that after you reach a point on this path of hidden knowledge, you no longer fear death. Because you know that it's like going into the alpha state. You go into the alpha state, and then you don't lose total consciousness of yourself. Some people do. The ones that are made from hardwood like that. All right, let's go on now.
It is acceptable.
Is that okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah? So far, are you agreeing, disagreeing? Feel free to agree or disagree.
I agree.
All right.
It is acceptable for vegetation and animals to die, for they are not self-determined and simply follow blindly the commands of nature, but not conscious human beings, the highest form of the life energy.
With a highest form.
One judges another by
You know
what...
what I mean? Yeah.
One judges another by what he/she does, not what he or she says.
I mean, what a person does speaks louder than what
Right. I see no purpose in life other than self-mastery in performing one's will to attain happiness and learn to be immortal.
Oh, my God, this is so powerful, this number 14. And the older I get, and the more evolved I become, the more I see this. I see no purpose in life. I really don't. When you're younger, yeah, there's always oh, you're going to have sex, or you're going to have this or that, food. You know, but that's just for a little while. There's got to be more than that. Otherwise, so I personally see no purpose in life other than self-mastery in performing one's will. You have a will. You have a purpose in life. To attain happiness and learn to be immortal.
So you really have to worry about yourself. Just worry about yourself. Worry not being the right word, but think about yourself.
Yeah.
Learn about yourself.
Yeah. Most people don't think enough about themselves. They're not selfish enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because their heads are full of lies. You're selfish.
Yeah. You gotta help other people. You gotta do this.
You gotta help. You gotta do this. You gotta eat. You gotta feed the poor. You don't gotta do nothing. If you never donate a dime to all of these causes, which, you know, like, I don't want to mention them, but nothing is going to happen with those organizations. They can't. They don't know. You can't solve a problem because all problems are based on a lie, and you can't solve that problem with another lie. You would have to change completely in order to be able to change the past, and probably wouldn't be worth it. Why not start new? Like I say in my book, The Path of Hidden Knowledge. Drop out. Start your own new world. And you can. I did it. I started my own new world.
Now, are you saying it's people shouldn't support things like that, or it's okay if you want, but it's just don't assume it's gonna.
Well,
It's not
to
gonna.
a great extent, it's up to how the person feels about the thing. For example, I donated to the Boston Conservatory because they helped me.
Mhm.
I did, Mr. Alphen, who was the director, he passed away a long time ago, but I was starving all the time, so he would give me little jobs and gave me a part scholarship. And so he helped me to get through college. So I donated to them last year. A couple other organizations that I donated also because I learned something from them. I don't join things anymore. There comes a time when you gotta walk the path alone. I don't know that it is possible for you to really learn about yourself while being part of an organization. Now, even if you're studying with a coach, like me, but I tell you all the time, don't believe me. I'm telling you, you gotta walk alone. I'll just make it easier for you. Like last week, there was a student from overseas, and what a change in that person. He was so happy that I was there to guide him right. That doesn't mean that he's under me or in any way. He's free to go, you know, it's him. He's got his own thing. So, go ahead.
Much has been written about immortality, but nothing is conclusive. As I write this, I would like to know that I would exist without end.
Yeah. I just have that feeling that even when I drop the body, I have to know myself. I have to know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is vital for people to really make time for their own personal development. Because if they don't, there's a chance, I can't prove this, but I think there's a chance they might go into a state of limbo, where they remember nothing. For example, we don't remember our past lives. Something is there which kind of interferes. Something that says maybe you shouldn't look at it. Something like that. Because maybe in the past we went into a state of limbo, where we can't know who we are. But then again, I doubt it. But those are things to look at. I'm not positive.
Mm-hmm. It does not matter much to me how I would continue existing, as long as I continue to be conscious of my existence and continue creating.
Yeah. I mean, what good would it be for somebody to exist, be conscious of himself, and then his body dies, and then he's in a state of stupor. He doesn't know who he is. What good is that? It's not progress. And what we have seen since the beginnings of creation is progress. Slow, very slow, but we've made progress. It's always from abject degradation to the highest forms.
So it doesn't matter to you if for you being immortal does not mean necessarily in your body.
Necessarily.
In your body. It doesn't have to be, like, that's what you said, is that you don't really care how you are anymore, as long as you know who you are and you're not your body necessarily.
Yeah. And then if you've had experiences, like I have, in the alpha state, where I can't see that I was there and I was looking at my body over there, that I haven't done. I've been in states and things where, and now I duplicate it. I do it now. I did it last night. I do it every day. What I saw there, I can duplicate. And I can duplicate it without burning. So, which is also very good in healing. But the biggest problem is the lies. Is the lie. We've been given so many lies. And that's not what life is about. Not at all.
Between birth and death, I see 4 conditions which, when cultivated to the highest degree, constitute nearly total happiness.
Okay, let's take a look at those 4 conditions.
Nearly total happiness is self-ownership as a result of knowing that one is cause over the 4 conditions.
Right.
You cause the 4 conditions.
Right. You are cause. You're not the cause of their existence, but you are cause over them.
In your life.
Yeah. So, nearly total happiness. Nearly total happiness is self-ownership as a result of knowing that one is cause over the four conditions. Self-ownership, I love that term. Self-ownership, own yourself.
which our society tends not to do. Everything is not your fault. Well, my fault. That was his fault. Nobody wants to take responsibility for anything, right? People are
How do you
always-
mean that?
People are always, well, because you're saying you have to take self-ownership, you have to be responsible for it, but so many people don't want to take responsibility, their life is a mess because their parent abused them, or, they got in trouble in school, and, there's always some reason that there's something wrong with their life. It's not them. It's never
Mhm.
them. It's not their fault.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's right. They're right. It's not their fault. It's all caught in chains of causation. But we're different in a different position. We've already looked at that. I'm not sure if you got into as deeply as I have, but when you think about it long enough, you see that man is a slave. One thing leads to another. It's a chain of causation. To get away from that chain, that's what the Indians call karma. And to get away from those conditions, that's what mastership is all about. There is a way to get away from the conditions, or to mold the tendency. You know? You know what I mean? So, and the reason why they're caught in all those chains, well, this happened to me because of that, and that happened to me because of that. It's all in a chain. And they're right. That's why, if you know what I'm talking about, you don't get mad at people anymore. I had somebody today, a new person, and I saw that clearly, they bitch and complain about everything, but it's not their fault. That's the way it is. And when I see that this book has weight, why should I waste time and effort trying to take the weight away from the book? That's the way it is. And the way that it's the way it is because life is a school. I call it the prep school now. Before it was the jail, prison. Then it became a reform school, and now it's a school. That's the way it's set up that way.
So just learn.
Yeah. All right.
The four conditions are health, personal power, wealth, and love, sex.
Right. So, this is what I have found. If you have health, personal power, which means you direct your life, wealth automatically comes. Love and sex automatically comes. However, with love and sex, you don't always attract the person who is on the same level of evolvement. This is the problem with people being on the path. There's so few on the path that you have a hard time finding somebody that knows what the hell you're talking about. But at the same time, you develop such a strong self-love. What people call self-love, and on the surface is not self-love. It's false pride. Self-love is something else. Self-love is part of, at least 50% is a recognition that you are at least 50% part of some other force. And when you see that clearly, you don't care anymore. You don't care what people call you. You don't care what people say. Again, I could give you example after example just this week alone, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to mention anybody.
And how do you get there? How do people get there?
Well, see, that's always the question. How do you do it in 3 easy lessons? There's no way of getting there. That's like, if you want sell something fast, then you invent some 1, 2, 3 that people can do. And there is. The closest I've come to it without bordering on the commercial. I can't stand those sales tricks. You know what we went through. I can't stand them. $17.95 is not $17.95, it's $18. And the only person on this planet that I met was Melvin Powers, the director of the Wilshire Book Company, who is a friend of mine. I used to go into his studio once in a while and he'd ask me to tune his guitar. And I learned a lot with him. And one of the things that he said was, because I was getting prepared for all the things that I'm doing now, how to write ads and all kinds of things. He said, don't go the commercial way, you know. My books are $20, not $19.98. 559.99. It's ridiculous. It's just a trick. You're taking advantage of my intelligence. And I will not let you invalidate my beingness. That's why I call my system aggressive non-resistance. I'm not going to let that happen. But I'm not going to resist your crap. I think I have it right. However, I'm not going to advertise so I can make a lot of money. I do well enough on my own. Every day I sell books and people call me from all over. That's enough. That keeps, you know, what else? What more do I need? All right. Now let's talk a little bit more about this one here. We have the health, personal power. Health has to come first place, because if the wires are crossed, you can't have that much personal power. Personal power, you know, it's like magnetism. You have to work on it. All of these things bring personal power. Wealth, it's very good to have wealth. One of the good things about wealth is that with wealth, you don't have to kill yourself to make a living, which you don't have to anyway, if you knew about yourself. But wealth allows you to spend more time not rushing. And if you're going to be on this path, you can't rush. You just can't rush. Now, all my life I was very diligent, and at times I was very rushing and blah, 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 but not completely. My whole life has been decided between the material and the spiritual won after my first transformation. I had a real rough time getting along with people because not get along well with people, but I mean like to have real good true friends, especially in the women department. They didn't know what I was talking about. And I didn't realize that the problem was that I should be talking to them in everyday talk. But then when I'd start the everyday talk, I'd get bored to death. See? So I'm telling you these things which people on this path experience, but they're afraid to talk about. And then after that, you have love and sex, and all the sin connected with sex. It's just a lot of crap. It's pretty good. Sex is nice, so why not do it? I don't see anything wrong with it. Of course, you wouldn't go to somebody who didn't attract you. You don't have to worry about that. Some guy that goes out and picks up a woman on the street that she never even said hello to, that's going a little too far. You know. Now, love is something else completely different. Completely different. You can have a tremendous love without sex. Anyway, that's for you to decide. All right, let's go to number 30.
How happy would one be if he/she also knew he/she was cause over death?
Yeah, well, we're learning that as we develop more. Right now, the way we are right now, like without knowing something special, spiritually scientific way of prolonging life, I would say that your being cause over your death would be not resisting it. I accept the fact that that's the way it is now. And I know that I will always be me. because from what you've studied in Course 5A, if you thought otherwise, you'd be going against the universal beingness. Why would you? Universal beingness is a beingness that does not have self-consciousness. It needs you and me, and everybody else on the path that has reached a certain amount of evolution, so that it can find itself. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about in this respect, but these are not things that can be proven scientifically, although science is very close to discovering these things. For example, now you can look through some kind of a gadget and you see electrons, and the electrons take the shape of what you're thinking about just by looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can give you the name of a little book that cost $15 that taught you how to do that way back when I was a teenager.
Really?
Sure. His name was Dr. Littlefield. He wrote a book called Man, Minerals and Masters by Dr. Littlefield. He was looking in he was a physicist. He was looking in the magnifying glass, and then he looked out the window and it was wind outside and raining, and he saw this woman fighting the wind and the rain with the umbrella. And then he goes back to the salts in the dish, and he's feeling so sorry for that poor woman. It's on his mind. And soon the woman is in the salts. So he continued that, which proves what science just proved. Which goes to show you don't need science. I mean, it's good, like I said, if the primary function would be to prove spiritual law. Now, they have proven spiritual law by that gadget that you look into, and you control the electrons with your thoughts. That's what he did. Dr. Littlefield was way back in the turn of the century. Anything else, Dick?
No. 100% happiness is not possible as long as one does not have the certainty of being immortal.
Okay, let me read that again. 100%. It's not possible as long as one does not have the certainty of being immortal. Well, I would say yes. The happiness that we experience now, that we feel now, would be quadrupled if we could be immortal at will. Is this your comment?
No.
It is?
No.
No, it isn't. All right, let me just let the next student in. All right, where are we?
We finished with 31.
31?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. We don't yet have all this proof, which will help. And the more time you spend on the hidden path, developing your abilities, there are abilities, no question about it. You reach a point where you prove to yourself that you're immortal. I mean, all it takes is one trip out of the body. Now, I've been out of the body, not once, maybe a half a dozen times, but I didn't have enough awareness yet to actually see my body there. That would prove to me. But the feeling outside, oh my God. I can tell you what it's like. You're here, floating, and all of a sudden, you gotta go see my friend Susan over there. And you're there. Instantly. There's no time or space. Yeah? All right. So now we're going to go to number 32.
Becoming cause over the four condition leads to an advanced state of consciousness that will place one in the new civilization which is now beginning.
So, becoming cause over those four conditions above, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's obvious to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have those four things, you have everything.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore puts you in a position of cause, which leads you to an advanced state of consciousness. You have health,
Mm-hmm.
you have personal power. Incident, Incidentally, it's much easier to do spiritual adventures when you have good health than not. When you have good health, your personal power, and you have wealth that you don't have to worry about where your next dollar is coming from, and you have love and sex, which boils down to admiration. If you have somebody that gives you admiration, you're lucky. And that would put a person in the new civilization, which is what I'm talking about. Drop out, start your own new civilization. But there is actually a new civilization starting. All of these things that are happening all over the world. There is a new consciousness trying to get in here, which is cosmic consciousness. And you want to make yourself available for that consciousness. You know anything about that?
Well, yeah, I think it goes with what they say for 2012, and we're progressing. The vibration is rising. More people are becoming awake. We're rising to a certain new level.
But do you, not what they say, do you see that?
Yes.
Do you see a change in people's consciousness?
Yes.
Right. Which brings a word of warning. There's so much of this stuff going around. 2012, well, that's understandable because it's a cycle, the end of a cycle. But there's so many things, people out there talking about all these things going to happen. Pay attention to those things. Drop out. I'm telling you, drop out. Your world is your world. You are a completely different universe than my universe. And even so, if I see an organization, for there is an organization right now, which I also donated a little money to, which they send me something every day to think about, and it makes me happy. I like it. It's not one of these proselytizing organizations, and I don't want to be part of it or anything. But they're good. Whatever I can do for them, I will do it. But I don't want to. Anyway.
With 30, so here's
32.
33. No, we did 32, so
Okay,
we'll do 33.
33.
Even with 32 above, one is not yet omnipotent.
Mm-hmm.
There are no guarantees in life. The process of living, as of now, is still a series of stresses of attraction and repulsion. Thus, happiness is simply the certainty that one can solve the problems of living having to do with the four conditions. It does not necessarily mean jumping for joy all the time.
No. You can be totally happy and then not jumping for joy. People think you're happy, hey. They call sensationalism happiness. Hey, not at all. I don't know if I told you the story about Krishnamurti. I was there listening to his talk, sitting on the ground in Ojai, in like farm space that was his. Some lady gave it to him, and he was, somebody asked him, "Are you happy?" Which is a good question. Did I tell you this?
I don't
Oh,
think so,
somebody.
yeah.
And he says, "Well, I don't think about it. I never think about it. I'm here. Everything's fine. And this is the way I'm feeling more and more and more and more. Are you happy? What do you mean happy? What do you mean by happy?"
Yeah, that is subjective.
The closest you can come to say that I am happy or I am close to happiness is the ability to dominate the physical universe, to creation. When I do these DVDs, I'm creating something. I am mastering that. If I don't put the paper in properly between the cellophane and the DVD, that's a lack of mastery. Everything is mastery, and when you reach that point, it doesn't matter. You know that you're doing it. That's what I think. happiness is. And then that other things come along with it, like the four conditions. That comes in a person's life. If they're studying themselves, those four things are going to be there. Five things actually. They're going to be there. And purely on the physical level, really that is all you need for happiness. Health, personal power, wealth, and love and sex. Five things. We call it five things. Physical, because five goes with the earth, the physical world. And everybody can achieve those easily, but not without a path sometimes. If you took a course, a seminar, how to be rich in 9 months, be a millionaire, billionaire, well, you might achieve it and you might not. But if you on the path and you know that money, success of a material nature is all part of who you are, it's going to come anyway. It might take a little longer. So what? You're not in a rush. Why join the stampede to death? And that's what people are doing when they're rushing.
And wealth doesn't necessarily mean you're happy either. I mean, there's plenty of...
Right. That's right. For example, I have a student that comes, very, very nice person. And hard time succeeding. The guy is brilliant, nice person, and then I finally discovered just by watching, he doesn't move, he doesn't work, he doesn't move on the things he's decided to do. Now, when I first came to Miami, I didn't know anybody. I actually came here because my mother was still alive in Boston, and I figured it was closer to Boston. But it turns out it's almost as far from California. And I came to Florida. I didn't know anybody. I had torn the ligaments in my hand. That's an old story when I was in California. I still had the phobia. I hadn't gone through my transformation. And I started right from the beginning. I said, this is what I've got to do. I am a teacher for now, and that's what I've got to do. So I went looking for it. I started teaching English. I had students in less than 6 months. I had students all over the place, making money teaching English, and I loved it. I enjoyed it because I had to do with the voice. Then I started changing to music. I started getting voice students along with the English. Then I started teaching in a studio, teaching up in North Miami, teaching music, voice. And then I started building my home studios, my home students. Then I started getting on the path more and more and more. And then one day I got beat up in North Miami by a gang, 4 or 5 guys. And me with my very strong voice, I got so angry. My voice alone almost killed them. They ran. I called the police and everything. Well, 5 days later, I had a panic attack because of all that anger and everything. And that's what started the transformation. Not that I had those before. Sometimes on stage. And that's when the transformation happened. And then it took a year to completely heal. So I didn't join some little thing to pay $5 a month so I can be part of this program of business. You just do what you got to do. That's it. Now, this other guy, I realized that he planned the things, but he doesn't do it. So how are you going to get ahead if you don't do it? obviously you don't enjoy it, because if you enjoy what you're doing, you're gonna do it. That's right. Number 34.
Daily livingness is simply a way of discovering who one is, and so-called success or lack of it is a plus or minus of that discovery.
Yeah, I remember when this thing came to me. It meant a lot to me. Daily livingness, the way you live your life, is a way of discovering who one is, and so-called success or lack of it is a plus or minus of that discovery.
If you do it, you'll find out. If you don't,
Yes, and as you succeed, as you continue knowing who you are.
for all of the above, this secret has been written.
Meaning the thing.
A secret cannot be told by word of mouth. One must delve into what is written to discover the secret.
I think we better stop right after this one.
Okay.
A
Thus,
secret cannot be told by word of mouth. One must delve into what is written to discover the secret. Yeah, you need to go over these, and I hope you went over
I
the
did.
ones we did before. And we're going to stop here for today. So always go over the old ones and a few of the new ones, so you can have something to get into. And I need more feedback from you.
okay.
So you can get a little bit more practical than me, because I tend to go off in tangents all over the universe. You know, that's the only way I can think, because that's the way I do when I do
Right.
my projects. But you're used to being very practical about the 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll bring that in, as long as it conforms to the law of the spiritual. Okay, sweetheart?
Okay, darling.
Well, it's okay. I think I'll keep that on my plate.
Yeah.